How can nonprofits make sponsorship activation easier for their corporate partners? In the first two segments about sponsorship, we spoke about our role as marketers in securing sponsorships and our role in implementing sponsorships. Ideally, we find a really suitable sponsor and work closely together as partners, but in reality, we can sometimes struggle with sponsors who are excited about engaging with our organization, but are lean on the resources to do so. So let's take today's segment to talk about what happens then. To make activation easier for partners, it's ideal for nonprofits to implement strategies that enhance the overall experience for sponsors, but streamline their involvement. What I mean by that is that we want to deliver benefits without being a burden. That should start back at the proposal phase, where we should create a concise and visually appealing sponsorship proposal that clearly communicates our nonprofit's mission, goals, and the value of sponsorship. Make it easy for corporate partners to understand the benefits and impact of their support. One way I like to do this is to focus on offering clear but customized packages. You want your proposal to outline the benefits, opportunities, and deliverables associated with each level of sponsorship. And from there, you can tailor your packages to meet specific marketing goals and preferences of potential sponsors as you learn more about their needs. To be clear, the more you know about a potential sponsor going into your pitch meeting, the more you can narrow what you include in your proposal. For example, if you know that the history of this organization you're approaching is to give big, you may remove some of the lower level sponsorship options from your proposal altogether. So do what seems best based on the amount of information you have and refine from there. Something I find helpful is to work with my fundraising partners ahead of a pitch, or ideally at the inception of an event or program where we're going to be seeking sponsorship, to really assess the types of engagement options we think we can offer sponsors. If we can allow partners to choose from a variety of sponsorship activation opportunities, such as event sponsorships, content collaborations, employee engagement programs, they can often find something that best suits the needs they have and matches up most closely with the resources that they can bring to bear. Once you've secured your sponsor and you're moving into implementation, there are also a few ways you can streamline onboarding and ongoing relationship management. First, and I can't stress this enough, develop a streamlined onboarding process for new sponsors. Provide a welcome package with all the necessary information, including branding guidelines, key contacts, and details about upcoming events or initiatives. As marketers, we should be able to work with our fundraising counterparts to have an onboarding package 95% ready to go at any time. Just awaiting customization of that last 5% of information based on the scope of each partner's individual sponsorship. Second, outline a clear activation plan that details the timeline, milestones, and specific activities related to the sponsorship. And be sure each of those activities has accountable parties attached. Sponsors will need to know what you're doing, what they're doing, and what tasks are going to require collaboration between your team and theirs. This activation plan should also help ensure that corporate partners understand how their brand will be promoted and integrated into your nonprofit's initiatives. And please, be sure your activation plan addresses what happens if deadlines for deliverables are not met. For example, if a press release announcing your relationship must be approved by the sponsor before release, and no approval is obtained from the sponsor, no release will be distributed. Dependencies matter, and noting accountable parties is important because if benefits are not fully provided, your sponsor is going to come back and ask why. Because transparency is key, and because working from an activation plan should provide an ongoing architecture and touch point for your sponsorship activities, scheduling collaborative planning meetings into your plan just makes sense. This allows you to discuss upcoming initiatives, align on goals, and explore new activation opportunities at regular intervals so everyone on both teams is fully informed. This also helps foster a collaborative relationship by involving sponsors in the planning process and getting them invested in content creation and other execution. In support of that, I also want to encourage you to think about point people. We don't want to get into a situation where it's everyone's job to communicate, so everyone thinks someone else is communicating and then no one has actually communicated. Provide a dedicated point of contact for sponsors to ensure timely and transparent communication over the course of your relationship. And as you approach the end of a sponsorship term or prepare for a renewal, don't miss the opportunity to seek feedback from your sponsors. In fact, I recommend doing this more frequently if you're able, especially if you have a sponsor that signed on to support a significant event. You're going to want to get their feedback about those big sponsorship activation opportunities while they're still top of mind. Then use that feedback to continually improve the sponsorship activation process for them and others. The goal is to create a positive and efficient sponsorship activation experience for your partners that fosters long-term relationships and maximizes the impact of your collaboration in both of your organizations.